How we doing YouTube? It's your friendly gamer SmartEntity here. So this is going to be my attempt of reaching an insanely high timer for a T4 survival. Now it took a bit of preparation, took a bit of time to get these guys, but everyone here seems to be quite capable, and I have every confidence that we can reach at least 100-minute T4 survival. Basically, I am going to show some gameplay, same with my sort of 84-minute T3 survival that I did a month ago. So I'm going to show gameplays here and there, and at the end I'm going to talk about strategy, build, everything basically, everything you guys need to know to replicate this. Now to begin off, I do want to say I put two restrictions on myself. The first restriction is we are not allowed to use energy packs. I haven't said that, but basically, you know, it's okay to use energy pack one-offs, but the strategy we use doesn't depend on constant energy packs. As a result, we do have a Trinity in the team. And the second restriction I put on myself, which is not so much a restriction as a, I guess, style, and that is basically everyone I got are people I got from chat, so recruiting chat. None of these guys, as far as I know, I've played with before. I did specify some of the mods builds I want them to have, but beyond the fact that I know everyone has corrosive projection, I don't actually know what they've got. So yeah, I think I'll just pause this clip here and then jump back when we're at a bit of a higher timer. So I guess it got a bit of an update, so we're about the half-an-hour mark now. We did get a Loki Prime helmet at the 20-minute mark, and it's just actually really good to see that no one is sort of begging to leave. Everyone's still sort of have their eye on the goal. It's the game, but hey, we are trying to sort of push the game to the limit, as I like to call it. So after your sort of 20-25 minute point is when enemy level starts to actually increase. But with our full corrosive projection team, as you saw there, the heavy gunners, they just die with no hassle whatsoever. And as you can see on the map, we have ample of energy, ample life support remaining. The Nekros has been doing a decent job. I did have a quick scout of the map a bit earlier, trying to activate some of the sort of more distant life supports. Unfortunately, this is not a very good map. This is probably the best room. As far as spawning goes, unfortunately, it's not the best room in there, well, out there I should say, just because of the open area. It doesn't give you much of a defense. But I will talk about strategy and build later on. All of us are of the sort of survivability build, if you like. No one has fallen yet, which is a good sign. So yeah, I guess I'll log off here and then get back to you guys perhaps around the 60-minute mark. So we're at the sort of 45-minute, or nearly 45-minute mark, and I'm just making one of my runs. So basically, obviously, like any good strategy, you need to stay in one room. And basically you should obviously activate life supports far away from you, because as time goes by, enemies become harder and it becomes obviously less and less practical to go away from your sort of farming location. So just running back to where I am, I mean, we're only at the 45-minute mark and I'm already obviously using quick thinking. I could just imagine at the 60-minute mark it'll become quite risky to actually do these far away runs, just because you are by yourself, you don't have anyone to really depend on reviving you or anything like that. Yes, obviously just chatting, I went the wrong direction. Going back. Yeah, so enemies now, they're not too hard. I think we've only actually used one Molecular Prime. Molecular Prime is sort of a trump card, just because this Nova, she's not too sure if she has intense or not, but it's definitely a slow sort of Molecular Prime, so you don't want to slow enemy approaching. We're not depending on it, but I would say the next 10 minutes or so we'll definitely be needing Molecular Prime to sort of speed up enemy kill, and obviously life support drops. Alrighty, so yeah, a bit of a sort of 45 minutes, 75% of an hour update. Anyway, see you guys back in I guess a few minutes time. Okay, so we are near at the 60-minute mark, just going on another one of my runs. I just want to show off a quick, strategy, if you like to call it. Basically, as a Nex, you're running around. Basically, if you are in a bit of a hassle or in a bit of a sort of bind, what you want to do is you want to activate Absorb first, and then it's okay to detonate immediately. The purpose of that is basically to provide a knockdown effect on enemies. and then you can either choose to run or you can cast chaos depending on the situation. So if we meet a bit of an enemy, I'll show that off shortly. But it doesn't look like I'm gonna meet anything. So if you're at a, I guess, life support, just cast chaos. You know, it doesn't cost any energy at all. Especially when you got a Trinity casting energy vampire, just cast your chaos and then, you know, yeah, feel safe when you activate that life support. I mean, when I came into this, I can't honestly remember how many revives I've got. I know I should have more than one, but, you know, it's always, yeah, a tricky business when you don't know how many revives you've got. But yeah, I mean, I think I'll just leave the sort of video recording on until 60 minutes, see what reward we get. Hopefully another Loki Prime helmet, those never hurt. You know, these sell for quite decently on the trade market. Yeah, so we're sort of, you know, depending a bit on Molecular Prime now. We're still trying to cast it as little as possible just because it does slow enemy coming to you, but it's a balance, you know, between enemy rate of coming to you versus rate of killing them. So as you can see, you know, our energy store, well, I can't say energy, but our life support stores are actually quite healthy. I said it before, I'll say it again, I am quite confident we can make a decently high run with this, at least 80 minute I would say. I've done 80 minute, you know, quite regularly. I've done quite a few videos on it. 100 minute, I honestly can't remember the last time I've done that. It's probably before the T4s actually came out, probably sometime on T3 I would say. Anyway, we'll just, yeah, see what happens. So here's me going for another run. So we are getting to the point where enemies are becoming quite hard to kill now. Enemy levels are increasing exponentially. And honestly, I'm not as confident as doing these runs as I was, say, 20 minutes ago. But Nyx is basically trying to do these runs just because of chaos and obviously the emergency absorb. So 68 minutes also. I think this is probably one of the longest sort of T4s I've done so far. It's not too long yet, it's just because, you know, usually there's not much point doing this long. T4, or well, any survival for that matter, rewards do accumulate, but sometimes, you know, it's generally considered easier just to start another game. Okay, so people are starting to fall now, which is quite a bummer. So I guess I'll record the clip and see what happens. Now these guys did tell me that they all have 4 revives each. So if that's true, you know, this shouldn't... oh crap. So yeah, we'll see what happens here. Just hoping I wouldn't mind a revive, but honestly I don't actually know how much revives I've got. I guess we'll see. Okay, so I got 1 revive left, so this will be fun. Yeah, so I mean, it seems like I came into this game with only 1 revive. I did do a T4 survival before. I thought I used 1 revive before, but apparently I used 3. So I just used my final revive for the day, so if I die now, that is pretty much it. We are at sort of the 71 minute now. Life support is training extremely fast, so I think the goal here will be 80 minutes. If we can do 80 minutes, I think that is quite satisfactory. So we'll try to do that and see how things go, yeah. Now in the past I've done a few videos here and there. A lot of the time I pretty much forget to record the last of it, so here I'll pretty much try to record as much as I can, and then if, you know, we do die, at least I recorded a decent amount of it, let's say. So, it seems people are getting scared now. We all seem to want to leave. We'll see what happens. But I mean, if you just look at the damage counter on absorb, so we're at what? So nearly 500,000 damage. That's just how much damage these guys are dealing. how much damage is accumulating here. So this is at 72-minute T4 survival, and enemy just die right from that accumulated damage. Just pretty scary. So acting a few life supports. We do have a few life supports scattered here and there, but this by no means is sort of a guaranteed anything now, because you do die with pretty much one bullet. Just have a quick catch of this guy here. So level 134. It's honestly a lot lower than I thought, but I guess with all the changes here and there, enemies are not as, I guess, easy as they were once upon a time, month ago. Anyway, I think I will pause the game a bit. I'll probably make an emergency comeback when we're just about to leave. Otherwise, yeah, I'll see you guys in a bit. Okay, so we're nearly at the 75-minute mark now. I think what I'll do is I will record it and then upload to YouTube, and then I'll probably make a sort of annotation to make you guys jump past this part for those that don't want to see this. Only reason is because I remember when I did my T3 long run, a lot of people were saying, I should have shown more gameplay, should have shown more strategy. I guess, I'll sort of try to do that here. Just, a bit more about gameplay, a bit more about what the game looks like. I probably won't talk too much because I do want to just play this. It doesn't need that much focus, but I do want to just, focus on the game, so I won't talk too much, but yeah, we'll just have a bit of gameplay here.
That should keep you going for a while.
I mean, it is quite good to see, level 140 heavy gunners dying. I mean, I am using max Brack, don't get me wrong, but, without your maxed corrosive projection, there's no way these enemies would die this easily. So I'm gonna make another run here. I kind of feel I might regret this later on, because these runs are getting very risky, because if I die, I will die without revives, and no one's gonna come here and save me or revive me. It's just because it's not practical for them to do so at baseline. So yeah, I'll probably activate this one and then run back. For those of you that watch my channel regularly, you probably notice I'm a bit sick, a bit stuffy here, but it's Warframe. Oh shit. It is Warframe, and I did promise you guys a long T4 survival, so I gotta deliver, regardless of my health status, I guess. So here we go. One thing I just want to quickly mention before I forget is these guys are extremely power aware. It's quite hard to find players that are very aware of when to use powers. Now obviously with Nekros, you just press 3. Now it's actually a lot harder than it sounds, because it is a game, people want to play the game, and a lot of the time they just play the game. But this Nekros is very conscious as far as pressing 3. And as far as the Trinity goes, now I guess a key, if you like, is to keep on spamming Energy Vampire. This is, again, harder than you think, because the Trinity is probably at max energy. And when you're at max energy, it's hard to spam Energy Vampire all the time because you don't think about it. But this Trinity, I mean, I have sort of, requested it quite a few times, as have other people. But as far as awareness, this Trinity is actually quite good at activating it. And as far as the Nova goes initially, the Nova was not activating Molecular Prime to avoid slowness, but then Nova was. So that is obviously quite important as well. So there we go. So that was pretty much my last revive. So I'm out now. Last I checked, we were at the sort of 70 something minutes. So that was a bit of my bad, I guess, coming in with only one revive. But overall, it's not too bad. But I guess I'll just quickly, have a quick look at the rewards here. So as you can see, we have a lot of rewards here. Love these loading screens. So yeah, as you can see, we have a hell of a lot of rewards here. Mission credit 18 over 18,000. That's not something you see every day. Obviously, a lot of mods, a lot of rare 5s, and of course, you can know that this was a T4 survival by the fact that we have the serial mods. Here we go. Double serial as always. But if you have seen my other video, I did manage to get 3 serial from one run. So yeah. So just gonna have a quick look to see exactly where we ended off. So, oh man. So 1 hour, 19 minutes and 21 seconds. So I guess I can't title this 80 minutes. So that's, wow, just over 79 minutes. Overall, I mean, it's definitely okay. Basically, if you think about it, your standard team, no Nekros, you're looking about 20-minute easy. With Nekros, 40-minute easy. A well-organized team, you can pretty make 60-minute. And then obviously, we have a bit more structured team, you can go a bit longer. The point of this wasn't really to, I guess, do something that is not reproducible by others. Like I was saying before, we used the Trinity, so we didn't depend on energy plates. And every one of these guys, as far as I know, I've never played with before. It are just people that I got from recruiting. So, if you can hold your own, you should be able to recruit people that can, reproduce these results or produce better results. And I guess that's what it really comes down to. So, in other words, this is something that anyone can potentially do. Okay, so I'll go through some of the strategies that we basically did. Now, the composition we had was Nyx, Nekros, Trinity, and Nova. Nekros, hands down, is a essential frame. Now, when I started the game, I did request all these guys for particular mods, particular builds. Obviously, at the end, I don't know exactly, if they use what I requested, but basically here are the builds I recommend. So the Nekros build, exact same build as I wanted, or I put forward, was my complete farming guide. Everyone obviously have to have Descrate. I'm not going to talk about the build too much, but this is what you need. As the gist of it, you want to optimize Descrate with range as well as energy. You want to use a survival combo, so rage, vitality, quick thinking, and as a last mod, it's perfectly fine to have flow or rush. I usually like to use flow just because it helps with rage and quick thinking that much more. And now the second frame I requested was Trinity. Okay, so this is a Trinity build that I was basically recommending. So what I requested the other guy to have was obviously the sort of rage quick thinking combo. I wanted him to have intensify on there, and I wanted him to have obviously energy vampire as well as corrosive projection. Now blessing is a given, and that guy did have for leg as seen in the video. Now obviously you need corrosive projection, but basically, thinking back to a while back when I was, trying to optimize blessing to counter the nerf. Now, don't even worry about that. The way it goes basically is you want to optimize energy vampire, and that is done with intensify. So how it works is everyone is on rage and quick thinking. If you got plenty of energy or infinite energy, you in theory can't really die. Now we have obviously died and fell quite a few times. We think it's a bug or there's some sort of mechanic in the game we're not sure about. But basically, more often than not, in fact a lot more often than not, optimizing energy vampire will almost give you invulnerability because of quick thinking. And obviously if you got rage and vitality, the blessing cast, which will obviously fuel all your energy when you do have full health, is sort of another sort of barrier to death, if you like. Now as far as other mods, rush I don't know if the other guy had it, but I definitely recommend it, especially in these survivals. You definitely want to run around, be able to be alive. Energy efficiency is not that important, but having said that, we've all seen the amount of Eximus at the sort of end of a survival, and having these sort of energy efficiencies do allow you to cast the energy vampire. Say after a Eximus drain, and you just sort of picked up a energy orb. Now, as far as the Nova, I did request the Nova, sort of my complete Nova in-game build. What I told the other guy to do was basically have a max narrow-minded, as well as sort of the rage quick thinking combo. Now, before the game, he did tell me that he did not have a max narrow-minded, but he did have one on, and then he did say he didn't have intensify on. And obviously he had a rage quick thinking combo, so I was actually happy with that, and I didn't see too much issue with it. So overall, it was perfectly fine. And yeah, there's no issue about it. And through the whole game, I did mention before, he was very aware of when to cast Molecular Prime. So you don't want to cast it too early, because that will obviously slow enemies down, slow their sort of progression to you. And towards the end of the game, you do want to cast it just to balance it up as far as enemy coming to you, versus sort of enemy dying or death rate, if you like. Now, and for, of course, what I've used, now this is the obviously exact next build I used in the game. Again, you have your Rage and Quick Thinking combo, you have your Overextended Stretch. Now, I cannot emphasize enough how important these two mods are. They benefit Chaos, they benefit Absorb so much, and this is the exact same next build that I recommended so long ago. Rush for that, obviously Rush. Energy efficiency, now I do have the Arcane Helmet on, so 15% energy efficiency plus the 60 from Fleeting Expertise does give me that max energy efficiency. I just want to quickly mention again, as far as Chaos goes, it's perfectly fine to have a low duration of Chaos, because as enemies approach you, you actually want to be able to cast Chaos again, which is what a low duration will allow you to do. So yeah, this is pretty much sort of the T4 package, if you like. Now, as far as sort of general strategy go, key points are: 1, everyone needs to stay together, stay in the same room, try to not go too close to the corridors or the doors of the room. Basically, the game mechanic does depend on camera vision as far as enemy spawning goes. In the game, you saw me running out of that room multiple times to try to activate the sort of life supports far away from us. Other than that, it's really a lot about teamwork, knowing when to activate powers, getting a team of mature people. I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just that I've been in too many survivals where you have those sort of rank 2 rhinos that run off on their own, and then you just run room after room without finding any enemies, and they're like, this is a bad sort of map. It's actually not a bad map, it's just because players are sort of too spread. Yeah, guys, so overall, I'll be honest, it is sort of the longest T4 run I've done so far, mainly because there's really not that much sort of incentive for going long. You might as well just start another game, plenty of people hosting it. But other than that, I am quite happy with the result. It's not hard to reproduce, and that was one of my goals, to show you guys a strategy that's, within reason, quite easily to reproduce. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. If you got any questions, leave in the comments below. Any suggestions, leave in the comments below. And yes, we all know that if you use Energy Pass, you can pretty much use that as half a frame and replace Trinity with someone else, but that's not what it's about. So yeah, alright guys, please like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.